Coming up on the W Show, Sunday's match between Adelaide and Brisbane is the hottest ticket in town. We break down where the game will be won and lost and the players set to do damage. Plus, are we missing an opportunity this week when it comes to an AFLW gather-round? We have our say. And Fremantle star Emma O'Driscoll joins us in the studio ahead of the Dockers match against the Saints on Friday. You're watching the W Show, thanks to NAB. Certainly is great to have your company on the W Show, thanks to NAB. Sarah Ollie in the host chair today, and back as she is every week. It's award-winning journalist Sarah Black. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah. How are you going? Big week in football this week.
Massive week in footy. We love it. And I know you're a Richmond fan, and when you hear debutante in grand final week, you might think of Marlon Pickett, but we've got our own debutante from WA.
Oh, I like that,
and
Sarah.
it's Fremantle's All-Australian Emma O'Driscoll. Hello to you, Em.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me. We were chatting off air and I'm a bit nervous about when to have a sip of my water because I feel like I stuff that up every time and my earpiece has fallen out twice. So you can tell I'm a Debbie, but hopefully I do okay today and you guys will make me feel very at home, I'm sure.
You'll do just fine indeed. Let's get into last night's results at Icon Park because, Sarah, it was one-way traffic, wasn't it?
It certainly was. North Melbourne did this in style. I think they were 5 goals up by quarter time and then just coasted all the way through. The Blues had periods where they were able to stem the flow somewhat. They were unable to put any impact on the scoreboard. This was probably the most damning piece of footage out of the game.
Is this a bit embarrassing, Sarah?
I think it is. When you've got Abby McKay as the sole player in shot, and she's a midfielder, it means that there's been a complete and utter breakdown of that back line, which is without Karen Peterson, I might say, who is sort of the general down there. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of footage for Matthew Buck and his team to go over.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching that game, we got off the plane and it was 1-33 at quarter time and we all thought we're turning this off, number one, and number two, thank goodness we're not playing the Roos this year. They are a force to be reckoned with and I'm pretty pumped to watch them play Adelaide in a few weeks' time actually because the Garner-Riddell versus Marinoff-Hatchard is going to be something special. And I tell you right now, their forward line I can't even talk about because as a 174 centimetre defender going up against Emma King, Talia Randall and Sheer Law, it is not where you want to be.
Now, I mentioned the men's grand final off the top, and it got me thinking when it comes to the W fixture this week, are we missing a trick? Craig Starcevich has his own thoughts, and I guess this is heightened because the Brisbane men's team are in this week's grand final.
I think we should grab this round around the grand final and keep it floating until we know which club's boys teams are actually in the grand final because if you really want to do it properly, you'd probably put us on prior in Victoria and then we could, relax afterwards and go and watch the game.
So Craig wants a floating fixture. Sarah, I'm not sure if that would work. It might be a little bit tricky. But in lieu of that, guys, could we have a W gather round in this week? All eyes are descending on Melbourne, Sarah. Do you think that could work?
Yeah, much more so than when I first heard that suggestion of a floating fixture. I'm like, come on, Stars. We've got enough uncertainty in AFLW. We don't need to add more uncertainty to the mix. But if a gather round could really work. I know that there's been a bit of fan push online to have a gather round in Sydney because of their really strong crowds.
Yeah.
But it does make sense if we're after that real one club approach to have everyone in Victoria at once. Em, you're a non-Victorian. What would that mean for you guys to pick up and pack over here for a whole week?
I'll fly the flag for the interstate at the moment. But I don't want to...
Non-Victorian,
Non-Victorian, sorry. I actually really like the idea. We're here for a week now, so we flew in yesterday and we're here Wednesday to Wednesday. We get to play 2 games of footy in that time and watch the men's grand final. I think it's great. I think to not have to take two trips over is incredible. And my family get to come over and watch as well. So the fact that they can get 3 games of footy in, it's awesome. It's a footy festival. We love it. And I think for us girls at work as well, it's even better because you just get to be full footy mode with your teammates. It's great. I love it.
Now, when it comes to the Western Bulldogs, Sarah, we had some concerns coming into this season. So much change on and off the field. Then Ali Blackburn, their former skipper, she goes down with a season-ending injury. But we saw at the weekend the kids are all right.
The kids are all right, Sarah. This was an interesting one because at the start of the year, we looked at the Dogs fixture. They had 3 relatively straightforward games to kick off with. Then things got harder. They'd lost all 3 of them and we thought they might have missed their chance. But I think they took a lot of confidence out of their performance against the Brisbane Lions, even though they lost by, I think it was 43 points. They took a lot of confidence and just practice in terms of that connection piece across the field. Obviously Collingwood are in a world of hurt at the moment in terms of their list size and strength, but just so good for the Dogs to get the monkey off the back and have a breakthrough win.
Well, you mentioned Collingwood there, and they are one of a number of sides who are kind of at tipping point when it comes to injuries. I mean, injuries are nothing new, Sarah. They're part and parcel when it comes to footy, but you've written about this and list sizes. Do we need to be expanding? Because it's a bit unfair that these teams are they're going to top up players already.
Yeah, so I spoke to Jess Berger, who's the head of footy at the Pies, one of the clubs who have been seriously affected for a number of weeks. She's also pointed out the fact that clubs need to be able to resource for larger list sizes. So if you're going to add 1, 2, 3 more players, you're going to have to make sure there's enough physios and the like to really look after these girls. I think the time is now just to go to 32. We've got a couple of teams up there who are in tipping point. I'm going to add Freo to that mix, Emma, because Gabby O'Sullivan's suspension means you are now at 23 available players.
Yes, no, it's not good for us. And I was going to bring back the backflip this week, Sarah, but Medical have given that a big fat cross, considering our list is dwindling at the moment. But obviously, yeah, Gabby being out is a huge loss for us. She had one of her best games I've ever seen her play last week. She kicked 3 goals, but just her tackle pressure and her intent to want to win the contest was unbelievable. And then obviously you guys would have seen that Anya Tai did go down with another ACL injury, which is just so detrimental for our team, but also just we feel so bad for Anya, I suppose. It's terrible.
In a football context, it's devastating, isn't it? How has the club rallied around Anya, and how's she feeling as well?
To be honest, I just want to say Anya is an incredible human being. She actually went down with her ACL and she knew straight away that it was gone, and she managed to sit on the bench the whole game, and she just talked to us girls, she encouraged us, she was yelling, she just put on a front, and it was unbelievable to watch, and it just shows her character and how great of a leader she is at our club. So we are so lucky to have her.
Unfortunately, the footy season moves so fast, though, Em, and you're going to have to work around her not being there. What does that mean for you on the field?
Yeah, it certainly hurts, but I think we've gone in with the mentality of we don't need anyone to step up and be Anya. We don't expect anyone to go out there and do what Anya does, because that's Anya. So whoever we bring into the side will bring their own strengths, and I think we're going to back them in to do that, regardless if we're playing small, tall, medium, whatever we're doing. I'm happy with backing our depth in, and it'll give opportunities to younger players coming through as well, which I think we're super excited for. So hopefully tomorrow night's clash is a good one and our forwards can still kick some goals.
You mentioned tomorrow night's clash against St Kilda at Moorabbin. Congratulations, Em. It's a milestone game. Game 50 for you. However, did you make a little boo-boo last week?
I can't stop laughing about this. So for everyone that didn't know, I actually played my 49th game last week, and I think I told the whole of Australia that it was my 50th. So I had 15 tickets lined up for my parents. I had my friends' kids running out with me in the number 3. I organised Mum to bring the whole of Northam down, and turns out it wasn't a milestone, but I say that 49 is the new 50. The signs that the fans made were incredible. So I'm just stoked that I got that opportunity, and you know what? I get to do it all again tomorrow.
I mean, how do you reflect on Game 50, Em? Because you're a netballer growing up. You got to footy a bit later than some other girls, but you're an All-Australian and you're just seizing every opportunity.
Yeah, I can't believe it, to be honest. I have to pinch myself every day. Look, I still can't kick, and that's fine. It's something I'm working on. So the highlights package was certainly short of a few kicks in there, but yeah, definitely just trying to do my best and play my role for the team. And if that's playing, one-on-one tomorrow night against someone like Jessie Wardlaw, then I think that's a privilege. And if it's playing off body and just trying to intercept as much as I can, I know that that's how I'm going to help the team, and then hopefully provide some run-off halfback as well. So I'm pretty pumped, and it's been a journey, and I look back and some of the photos, oh my goodness, this baby face. I think I had a few extra kilos on me. I was wearing a medium jumper back then. But no, it's certainly one to be proud of, and I'm super stoked to run out tomorrow night with the girls.
And the Dockers will be taking a whole lot of momentum into this game after such a thrilling conclusion to the Melbourne victory in the end. Ash McCarthy, nerves of steel. Yeah. And what a way to endear yourself to your new teammates, by the way, coming out of West Coast.
Yeah, Ash, so clutch, that goal. Oh, honestly, she's unbelievable. And look at the celebration here. We're absolutely frothing it. I think to be honest, we were like, can we say frothing? Is that loud?
I love it. Fluffing it.
I was on the wall, creating the wall as backs, and I think we all started to flock in knowing that if it's a point, we're still going to win this game. So we didn't care what she kicked. We just started running in, and it was such a great experience. To be honest, one of the best wins I've ever been a part of. And I don't think it's happened much in AFLW history after the siren. Twice. So to be a part of that, we're making history on my 49th game. So it was so good.
Now, the O'Driscoll family, I mean, the gene pool is very strong, isn't it?
Very strong.
I mean, you might be the best footballer in the family, but Nathan also plays for Fremantle. He's fresh off signing a 2-year contract extension. And Aiden, unfortunately, he had to be medically retired at the Western Bulldogs. How is Aiden going? Because we saw Angus Brayshaw give the toast at the Brownlow, and he clearly was still grappling with the fact that his football mortality had come to an end. How's Aiden going?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a year, to be honest. I loved Angus's speech. I thought he spoke so well, and I think it's incredible to have someone that was medically retired speak on behalf of those that have been medically retired. And the fact that Aiden got mentioned brings a tear to my eye, but he's actually doing really well. He lives in Melbourne here and he loves it. He's working part-time at the Dogs at the moment, which has been awesome, and just trying to seek as much support as he can in that space to, I guess, make sure his brain's okay long term, but also set himself up so that he knows what he wants to do career-wise. And there's no sugarcoating it. It was a hard time, and it still is, and it's going to be ongoing. The poor kid's 18 years old and had his dream ripped away from him, and then has to watch his 2 siblings play each and every week. That's tough. But I think he's handled it incredibly well, and Nathan and I are just so grateful that we get to do what we do, and each week we're going to go out there and lace the boots up for Aiden because he can't do that anymore.
There is one little silver lining in there in terms of a sporting future for Aiden. I do believe he's heavily invested in his sprinting. It was one of his key attributes when he was drafted.
He's very fast. I reckon it was because he was running away from mum's wooden spoon when he was younger. He was always a naughty kid. So he is quite quick, and I'm really keen to see what he can do in this athletics space. He's been training 5 times a week with an athletics coach, and sprinting is his thing. So we will support him in whatever pathway he goes down. But I think that could be it. And to be honest, he's so naughty that he'd go on and make the Olympics or something ridiculous like that, and then we'd be out of the limelight anyway. So his mum's favourite regardless, so we'll just keep supporting him doing what he does. And obviously Nathan signing the 2 years as well at Freo has just been another incredible experience. The fact that I get to play with my brother at the same club means mum and dad can bleed purple, but he has had also a tough year with his leg injury, and the fact that he got back and has played some bloody good games of footy is great for the fam, and we love supporting one another.
And just won the Waffle Grand Final as well.
Yes, how good. Go Peel, up the thunder. It's so funny. Aiden actually got a tattoo of a lightning bolt on his ankle at the Dogs, which my mum is fully against. She hates tattoos. And he's got, Cody Waitman has put a tattoo on his ankle, and now he's telling Nathan, Peel Thunder, you've got to go and get a lightning bolt as well. So Mum is going to be, tormented for the rest of her life, the fact that we're all getting tattoos. But, it's incredible win. Nathan played an absolute perler of a game. He kicked a goal from that left pocket on the left foot, which is just insane because our ball drops are hereditary, meaning they're horrendous. So I don't know how he does it, but super keen to see him run out next year for Freo and hopefully keep kicking those goals.
Stars everywhere in your family, and that brings us to star power thanks to NAB, and we had to go with Greta Bodie. 6 goals. She, like the Hawks, is on fire this season.
Very smooth segue there,
Thank you.
She was fantastic, was Greta. Had hand surgery a couple of weeks ago after, trying to help her dog out of a bit of an issue. So, she's done incredibly well to get back. We're talking ball drops, and your fingers can affect ball drops pretty badly. She was just on a different level against St Kilda. She's so dangerous both in the air and at ground level. She can push further up the field, she can stay close to goal. She's an All-Australian for a reason. And the fact that the Hawks are getting the ball inside 50 in a much more predictable fashion and much more often this year means that Greta's really been able to thrive.
Well, let's have a look at who they're facing this week and have a look at the week 5 fixture, because it's going to be a tough assignment tonight. The Cats, I don't know what to make of Geelong, Sarah. Are they going to show up? Are they not? They're coming off that big win, but they're still a game and a half outside the top 8. This is a crucial clash.
Must-win clash for both sides, but only one of them can win. It's impossible to get a read on the Cats at the moment. I'm not quite sure how that one's going to end up. I'm also going to have my eyes closely across the Collingwood and Gold Coast game. That's the 17th v 18th game. to kick off Friday, a full day of footy with the public holiday here in Victoria.
Yeah, and of course, clean air on Saturday with the men's grand final. And then some key clashes there. The Roos and the Tigers. I'm interested in this one, and I'm interested in it because we're going there for the deep dive with Gem and Em. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Gem and Em,
yes,
Sarah.
very nice.
So let's get over to the deep dive because Richmond, they're well and firmly entrenched in the top 8, and Gem, they're much improved defensively.
So last year we were a little bit harsh on Richmond's ability to defend higher up the ground. You add Ellie McKenzie back in there, a few other players, they do get stronger, but it's structurally, Emma, that we've seen the improvement.
Absolutely. Richmond defence has got so much stronger with adding a spare back there. Beck Miller played there against Port Adelaide earlier in the week, and I thought it was really effective for them.
Super effective, and we're seeing Richmond actually concede 6 fewer inside 50s a game, but even then the opposition is forced to use the ball poorly. Their goal accuracy is plummeting, and Richmond's rebound rate is going through the roof. How important is it as a defender to get your rebound rate way up?
Yeah, it's so important, and I think if you can do it higher up the ground, it's even better, rather than letting it get inside 50 when you're kind of in panic zone, panic stations. You'd definitely rather turn it over up higher, and I think that they were able to do that the other night.
So here's a couple of examples of that, and the Beck Miller in defence, as you mentioned. So here, we get the ball here as Port Adelaide, but Beck Miller's just sitting in the hole. This one, again, it's a stoppage, but she's just so well set up behind the ball, and Libby Graham has allowed that to happen as well. Who does this for your team?
Gabby Newton actually played this role against Melbourne on the weekend, and it enabled us other backs to just stay 1v1, and she could then take an uncontested mark where we could then bounce off the halfback and actually get those handball receives and the ball movement going.
Get it going out of defence. We love attack from defence. Here's a good example of the mindset that it changes in Port Adelaide as this happens more and more throughout the game. What are the two options when I'm Justine Mules here? What are the two options I've got because of this spare?
Well, you're basically going to surge it straight to Beck Miller, who's holding line of ball, or they're forced wide, which in that case is really great because it takes away that time to get inside 50.
So here, as we see it rolls, Justine Mules-Robinson kicks to Sachi Syme because she chooses that extra option, but there's still a spare sitting behind the ball. So Sachi Syme still has to make that decision as well, doesn't she?
Definitely, and then they're fooling around with it. There's, having to do extra kicks, extra handballs up, and then Richmond get a turnover right here. And hopefully they're on their way to Katie Brennan and goal.
I'm sure that bit of vision was in Richmond's team review after this game, and I'm sure it's something everyone's going to have to prepare for when they face Richmond this year.
Absolutely love your work there, Gem and Em. Thank you so much. So the Tigers are flying. Sarah, are they the real deal?
I don't know whether this is a little bit of self-protectionism here, and I'm trying to not be disappointed. I'm not convinced with the Tigers yet. Just given on the fact that those wins have been great, but they haven't been against the creme de la creme of the competition yet. We'll see how they stack up against the Roos on Sunday, but I'm tipping the Roos are going to have far too much depth across the ground. That's where I feel like the area that the Tigers still need a bit more improvement. Sometimes it can be a little bit Ellie McKenzie or Monconti or bust.
Yeah, there's still a bit of a gap, isn't there, between, I would say, 3 teams and the rest of the competition. And the other 2 teams are going to meet this week. It is Brisbane and Adelaide. This is going to be a really interesting test for both sides. I saw the Crows last week in the flesh, and they've got so many gears and players that can play multiple positions. They're going to be tough to beat. But Sarah, you like the matchup or potential matchup on the wings of Sophie Conway and Neve Kelly, 2 speedsters.
Yes, throw in Orla O'Dwyer into the mix there too for the dedicated Brisbane winger. These 2 are in fine form. They're the All-Australian wingers from last year, and I really can't wait to see them go head-to-head. Sophie Conway in particular, her running power has been extraordinary this year. There's no surprise that she's been getting on the scoreboard time and time again. Kick 1 goal 5 against the Eagles. I think she'll be keen to rectify that against Adelaide. But it just, Emma, is really demonstrative of just how powerful these sides are, and also that ability to utilise your wingers too.
Definitely, and for so many years as well, they've had success over a few years now. They're certainly one you look out for in your fixture because that you're going to get a good battle. In terms of Adelaide, we played them a few weeks back, and their ability to hunt at the contest but also rely on each other to win the ball to then spread from that is exceptional. And I think if they can then get the ball to their outside runners, like Neve Kelly on the wing, then they're out, and it's really scary as a defender watching that.
Who wins, do we think?
Oh, I've tipped Adelaide, but I've gone back and forth on it. It is at Brighton Homes Arena.
Yeah.
But Brisbane lost to North Melbourne there earlier this year.
It's It's going to be a hot one indeed. And speaking of hot, we are putting Emma O'Driscoll in the hot seat. Let's get the timer ticking. Em, what's your social media guilty pleasure?
Ooh, watching cooking videos.
Ooh, which teammate loads up on the most free food at the airport lounge?
Oh, would have to be Laura Pugh with the cheese and crackers.
Yum. What's a movie you can recite word for word?
A movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Bridesmaids. We were saying on the plane yesterday, there's a woman on the wing.
How long can you be without your mobile phone for?
Not long. Nah, actually hours. We'll go a couple of hours.
I wish you were taller.
Absolutely, I wish I was taller.
Yeah, especially against those Ruse girls.
Yeah.
What's your current celebrity crush?
Ooh. Been watching a heap of Channing Tatum movies recently.
Nice.
Love, and Zac Efron, I think, because I'm a High School Musical fiend.
Yes.
She's the man's a good one too.
Yeah.
If you are what you eat, what are you, Em?
Ooh. An almond croissant. To be specific.
If you could time travel, are you visiting the past or the future?
Future. I don't want to go back to the past.
Well, hopefully the future's looking bright. And I think if this performance is anything to go by, Em, you are in very safe hands. Thank you for joining us on The W Show.
Thanks so much, guys. I've had a blast.
Sarah, thank you as
Thank
well,
you.
as
And
always. Done a beautiful job.
Up the Swannies this weekend.
Con the Bloods and con the W Show. It's been lots of fun, thanks to NAB.
Want to get all the latest footy news in one hit? From injuries to breaking news, the latest from the coaches, the Footy Feed team has you covered. Watch it now on afl.com.au and the AFL Live app or wherever you get your podcasts.